Well, what's up guys? Good morning. Welcome back to the channel. We're here at Precision Auto Body. We are going to be working on the C8 today. In the last video, I had a Paragon Performance box that I was supposed to open up for you guys, but I totally forgot. We're going to go ahead and get that opened up. I've enlisted the help of one of my buddies, Anthony, from the YouTube channel, The Driver Mod. Thought we'd have him come in and work on the C8 and help me out with these. Well, we don't know what's in the box yet. We didn't open it up last time. It's a C8 in the green. She is looking good. So this is just the base coat. He still has to shoot the wide body kit over there. And then once he gets it all on here, he'll spray it one whole time to get it all the same shade. We are gonna go and check out, see what's in this box. Got a t-shirt. We got some springs. We got lowering springs from Paragon. These are supposed to lower it about 1 inch. We already have the couplers. I think that lowered it about 3/4 inch. So now we're gonna have a full 1 3/4 drop. Also included in the lowering spring kit, if you have the mag ride, they give you a little tool to get the pins out of the wires, and then they give you the socket to get that off as well. All right guys, so this is what we're working with. We got 2 springs here, 2 springs there. We got the socket that it comes with and the de-pinning tool, carbon fiber license plate. So this will work on all C8s. If you have the lift, if you don't have the lift, it's a 1 inch drop. It's about 30% stiffer than stock. Got the wheel off here, so basically we got to get this strut out. And up top, I believe under this cover, there's a couple bolts. And then there's one massive one right here at the bottom. So I was a little worried about lowering the car another inch and then this front lip ripping on the ground, but luckily we do have the lift system in here that will jack it up that, inch or so that it does go up. So not too worried about it. We'll just have to be really conscious of the road.
All right, so we're gonna try the first angle of attack. We're gonna remove this arm out of the way so that we can try and avoid having to release the bottom of the strut. We'll release the top hat, see if it can swing forward and clear everything. If not, then we're gonna remove it.
Don't you sell those on your YouTube channel?
Oh yeah, we got some setting like this. You know, we're gonna have a lot of loose bolts and hardware. You know, you don't want the stuff rolling away. You know, boom, all right there. Grip mats.
Flip that up and over. Too easy. What we got in here?
Now we're gonna try and release this top hat, these 15s right here. There's 2 more back there, and see if we can roll it forward.
We did take off the 4 bolts holding that top hat on, and then we tried to just bring the strut out. However, this does hit against the frame. So what we're gonna have to do is, there's a bolt down here. We're gonna take the bottom bolt out of the strut, and then we will pull it out somehow. When you guys do pull the strut out, there's also a brake line for the lift system right there. Just like one, I think 10 mil bolt, maybe I don't know, bigger, I'm not sure. And then a connector right here that you got to pull off. Pretty much the only things that are connected to the strut, and then you can just slide that strut right out. All right, guys, Anthony figured it out. What he was able to do was take off this steering linkage right here, and then that was able to, I guess, drop it down just a little bit further to where that top hat could be pulled out.
Top hat up, and then you can slide, you just have room to slide it out, just like that.
All right, guys, so he's got it out now. So you got the line off, the fluid line for the lift, and then you got the connector off, you got the steering linkage off, he loosened up that top hat, and now he's able to swing this out. He just loosened up that bottom bolt. So now we're gonna go ahead and compress the spring, get this hat off, put the new spring on there, put the hat back on, and reassemble. So here's a spring compressor we got from AutoZone. Rented it for 50 bucks, and they will reimburse it once you take it back. Hopefully these things work. You're gonna have to find like the perfect little bit of clearance here, huh?
You wanna get as high up as you can, because you're gonna wanna compress it as much as possible.
All right, so we found the spot that it fit. Gonna go ahead and get this thing compressed.
All right, so what I've learned in the past is it's easier to release this top hat nut when the spring is still applying pressure to this. Otherwise, this shaft, it's made to just spin inside of it.
Oh. Just what, crack it loose?
Yeah, you want to break it loose. Warning, danger. Do not remove this nut without the spring compressor applying some sort of tension to this spring. If you remove this nut, that hat, all that spring pressure is going right that way.
All right, guys, so we hit a little bit of a speed bump here. We tried using the loaner tool that AutoZone has. The clamp is just a little too thick, and it grabs onto this boot and wants to pull it up, so we don't want to damage this. So what we're gonna do is run back to AutoZone. They have another type, and hopefully it's a little thinner and it won't grab onto the boot. All right, guys. Yeah, that one's not as plush as this passenger side one is.
Really? This one's super plush.
No, this one's real nice. All right, guys, so we're gonna head over to AutoZone. Anthony's never driven a Z06, so his actually first Corvette he ever drove was the C8, the one in the wide body right now. And then now he's gonna do the Z06. Got all fancy with my AM/FM controller here. What do you think about that, huh? What do you know about that?
This is throwback.
This is
the O shit handle?
That is the O shit handle. Well, the pressure's a little high, you know, sitting there at 80. Oh, the gauge is all messed up. I guess that's a thing on the C5s. right, guys, we just left Discount Auto. We just picked up this new spring compressor. This one looks like it might work. Got a little thinner clamps on there and it mounts on the outside, so we'll give this thing a shot. All right, guys, we are back at the shop. We got the new spring compressors unboxed. They are way thinner, so they will
Maybe too thin.
Maybe too thin. They are really thin. I guess they could break. I mean, look how bulky these ones are compared to these guys, but they're a lot slimmer and we should be able to get into those springs a lot easier.
Oh, we can get over the you know, instead of just going from here to here, we can go from here to here.
So fitment wise, way better. If they don't break, then we will be good to go. So we went ahead and used the impact, put a little pressure back on the hat, and then we used the impact to break it loose, and now she's popping off.
Tension of the spring, and now we can just
slide everything out.
The whole thing off. Put the bumper on there.
Bumper stays on, spring comes off, that thing goes into the new spring.
Yep.
Too easy. So if you go onto the Paragon website, the tall ones with the extra 3 coils at the top, those are the rear lowering springs. And then over here on the right side, the shorter ones, those are the front lowering springs. So now we're gonna apply both spring compressors to this.
Spring compressors.
All right, now we're gonna start compressing this spring, and then we'll get that top hat bolted on there. All right, so we found out it doesn't really take very much compression. Just a little bit on both sides brings that spring down just enough where you can get those, see the threads come through the top hat. When you guys are putting your top hat back on, there's one spike right here. This is only gonna go in one spot into that top portion there. So you gotta make sure the alignment's right. These go onto the outside of the car. So also the bottom here, the electronics needs to be towards the back of the car. I'll show you guys over here on the passenger side where we haven't messed with it yet. This is still, you know, stock. So we got connector and brake line right here, shooting towards the back of the car. And then we got this spike right here, that's sitting at the side of the car. Cool, so we got the spring in there, or the strut in there. We're gonna go ahead and get that steering linkage put back on there, and then hopefully that'll bring it back up to where we can tighten into the strut, and then we'll bolt up the upper control arm. We just gotta connect this and then add the brake line, but we got the steering linkage bolted up, got the upper control arm in, and bolted in the 4 bolts for that top hat.
So when you are putting the top head in, start all 4 bolts by hand before you tighten anything down. That way you don't have any alignment with the plate issues. Gotcha. And then same with the upper control arm bolts. Start all of them by hand before you put any tools on them.
Before we jump on the rears, we got a little surprise to show you. So Manny, you know, he had his C8 fixed over here at Kevin's shop. All right, guys, now for the rears. On the rears, you have this bracket. Get that bracket off so it'll expose the other 2 bolts for your upper control arm. So you got 2 bolts here, 2 bolts there. It's very similar to the front. You got 1 for the sway bar here. That'll take off the bottom bolt for the bottom of the shock. And then you've got your 3 up top right here. 1, 2, and 3. By the way, if you guys haven't seen in the previous videos, we installed the Paragon Performance exhaust system. Check that out. Definitely get one of these things. They sound great, they look awesome, and they go together really well. Anthony already got the bottom bolt out for the shock. He went ahead and released the upper control arm, and then we got the sway bar off there. So the only thing holding this strut now are these 3 bolts up top.
Drop it down straight past the axle and then rotate it forward.
All right, guys, so now we are compressing the rear spring just like we did for the front, so we can go ahead and get this top hat off. If you guys have an impact wrench, highly recommend one, makes it a lot quicker.
Alternate side to side.
Again, on the rears, you guys want to notate the orientation of that top hat to the bottom of the shock to make sure you get the orientation right so it'll fit back up in there, and push. Hey. All right, guys, so first thing you're going to do is put the strut up in here first, get the 3 bolts on there so it goes to support that strut up, and then you can start messing with the stuff on the bottom. All right, guys, we just buttoned up the rear of the driver's side. We got the top 4 bolts in for your control arm. We got your bottom bolt for the shock and the sway bar. We got the 3 bolts in up at the top there, all tight. That's pretty much it for the rear. We already did the passenger side before we shot the driver, so this is all done. I wish I had the fenders on there so I could show you guys the difference, but it'd be kind of hard to show you now. We also did the fronts. Again, I'd love to show you guys the after, but we don't have any fenders on the car. Kevin and the guys are hard at work getting the wide body done. They already primered all the pieces, well, a couple of the pieces. They got a few more to do. So we will get this thing put together here very soon so you guys can see the after. So make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel so you guys can see the final outcome of those lowering springs. But guys, that's gonna do it for the end of the video. I wanna give a special thanks to Anthony for helping me out. Go check him out on the Driver Mod YouTube channel. And then I also wanna thank Paragon. Thank you for sending the springs. Can't wait to see what they look like when the wide body's all done. Guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out. We'll see you guys in the next video. Later.